guys, it's Nicole. I am up today for the Free Flow Wednesday video. I have previously done a scrap lift for a month in review video on the Crafty Maven Getaways channel, and I've done a couple more of those layouts on my personal channel. And I had ordered my prints and everything, and for whatever reason when I edited this one, I made it way too big. Like, this is ridiculously too big. There's not enough space for hardly anything, and I don't really want to just, you know, embellish here, slide this in a page protector, and then almost have to do like a whole, like, completely embellished left side, although that option is still open to me. So as I was kind of getting ready for this video, I decided that I was going to just see if I could make it work. And for the other ones, I was scrap lifting older layouts that Nicole McGork from Two Piece had done, mostly off of her YouTube channel. I think she had done a bunch of them for the weekly series that they had. And I just kind of liked the style that she had kind of done, where she was mixing the photo collages with the silhouette die cuts and stuff like that. So in my mind, it was just easier to kind of go back to her stuff and see if I could find anything that I can kind of cut these, and obviously have to move them to a 2-page spread. So cruising YouTube, I found this one, and I'm debating about trying to see if you know, if I can end up cutting these down, but I don't know. So this is basically as far as I've gotten in the planning stages, and now I'm just sort of trying to give myself the push to get it going. So this is definitely going to be an experiment for me, especially because I'm kicking myself over how big I edited these photos to be. So I'm going to take you along on my journey and this Free Flow Wednesday.
Alright, first off, I'm going to tell you that I ended up ditching those papers, and you'll see here in a second. I ended up not really following the intended scrap lift that I had found. I just kind of went with my go-to things, and then I added some stuff in later on. So here you can see I just started very carefully trimming down my photo collage and trying to figure out how to rework that into a different type of collage. Now, I ended up having to do 2 separate sit-downs in order to get this done over the course of 2 days. So this was the first day that I sat down. You can see how I've laid it out, and I've left an empty space, and I had intended to put those 4 photos on the second column, add an extra square and kind of embellish it and sort of have those be outside of the grid. Coming back to it on day 2, I kind of forgot about it and just kind of went with my own thing. Now here you can see I'm flipping through those papers, and I was shocked to find out that they were single-sided. I should have known when I couldn't get the package open because the tape had sort of fossilized, and then the papers were single-sided, so my hope of being able to use B-sides of the patterns I didn't like just wasn't working. So I was still trying to work with them. I grabbed my big file of my mind's eye and was starting to pull some B-sides to kind of mix in with it, and then I just kind of went on this like, no, I like this, I'm going to use this line from Lime Twist. And I believe most of the patterns were from the Happy Go Lucky, which this is old, this is 2011, but this for me was when my mind's eye could do no wrong. I loved the vibrant and bright colors. I liked how even though there was 4 different color schemes, you could still pull a purple from this one, a blue from this one, a green from a third collection, and you could still make them work. You could mix the B-sides from one line with the A-sides from another line. I bought 2, possibly 3 sheets of a lot of these patterns, and this, for whatever reason, 5 years later was the first time I'd used them. So I like seeing, you know, 5 or 6 different patterns. If I pull 5 or 6 different patterns, I'm going to try to use them. My go-to method is just to start cutting them in strips, and you'll see here I cut a 3-inch, a 4-inch, a 6-inch. I cut one down based on the way that the pattern was, which was those buttons. And then I always like to have at least one pattern that's going to have all of the colors together. This particular layout, I think I ended up with 3. The button strip has all of the colors. I cut some teeny like real narrow strips from a multicolored stripe, and then I wanted to add a little bit more interest to these layers, so I punched another strip of that same pattern and layered it right on top of it, and then just kind of ran my finger underneath it to sort of help it pop up a little. And then I'm going to use those little teeny stripe strips to break up where the patterns are meeting. And then I grabbed the purple and a different punch, which basically it's the same type of punch where it's a scallop, but it's smaller, so I decided I was going to put the smaller one on the top, the larger one on the bottom, and then just kind of repeating the same thing with that little strip to break up the patterns. I'm going to go ahead and start to piece my collage back together, and I'm just kind of trying to tuck it under and make the white space between them be as even as I can. My grid is going to get a little off as far as spacing, just because I had those taller photos at the bottom of my original collage and they were not the same as 2 individuals added together, but it doesn't bother me. So now I typed up some information on all of the photos, die cut a notebook piece from the Silhouette store, and then I'm just gonna use a sheet or a piece of washi tape, and then I just go over to the window in my room and kind of use it like a light box just to line it up, rerun it through my printer, and good to go. And then I wanted it to kind of be just a little bit tilted, just kind of have a little fun with it, so I decided to cut it at an angle and then just push it over to the left so that it's touching my photo collage, and then you're still seeing some of that pretty green paper on the right. And then this was when I thought, okay, I want to add some color to this, and I only had 1 sticker sheet for this collection and it didn't have a whole lot of smaller elements. So I just grabbed some really old Ali Edwards stamps, and I'm going to use some Ranger inks and some Mama Elephant inks, and I'm just going to add some color and some phrases to the top of my little journaling block, or, I mean, it's basically just information of what the photos were for this month. And I'm perfectly fine with mixing dye inks and pigment inks. Doesn't bother me. I tend to just look at my ink swatches and just go with whatever colors are going to work for what I'm using. So then after I had that down, I really wanted to bring some more color to the bottom of it. So I had this Carrie Bradford set out. I decided that I would go ahead and finally use it. And then I was trying to figure out what I could do to add interest to these background layers, and I've been on this kick of watching the old 2-piece videos because they're still up on YouTube, and I recently must have watched a bunch of Nicole McGork, and there was somebody else that I saw that was using circles and punches and stuff a lot, and Nicole McGork had done this thing where she'd punch it from her background so you could see the cardstock underneath, and it looked great. I go to do it and it looks like a hot mess. So my solution to fixing it, because at this point I've ruined my paper, I just kind of decided to keep putting stuff on top. So I went with a slightly larger circle made out of vellum. I used the butterfly stickers that coordinated with the paper, and then I'm just going to do that for both of them. So I'm going to cover it up with a circle out of the vellum, and then again put another butterfly in the center, and then I had some phrases from, I believe it's from Authentique, which I think these are actually newer. Diction, I guess is the line. I don't even know where I got these. And then I decided not to pull up the papers for the one above my journaling. I just punched a circle out of vellum, added another of the stickers and a phrase, And then I'm going to put 2 tiny paper clips onto that little notebook page just to kind of add a little bit more texture and interest over there. And then I wanted to use one of these longer phrase stickers from the sticker sheet and just kind of bring some of that purple over to the left. So I'm going to tuck it underneath these photos over here. And then I went and cut out my title, and for all of my 2014 month in reviews I'm using the same title style and the same paper. This happens to be a wood grain textured cardstock. I believe it's from American Crafts. I purchased mine from Scrapbook Generation, and I was hoping I could get all 12 months out of the one sheet, but I'm gonna have to go back and order another one because I think I only ordered one out of this color. At this point I realized that I'm out of my favorite liquid adhesives, could not get my spray adhesive to work, so I just grabbed this this white glue and just went ahead and used that. And then I'm just putting some stamping blocks on top to kind of help it. I notice when I use the liquid glue it tends to bubble up or warp just a tiny bit, so I just was trying to avoid that. And I have noticed with these cut files that the bigger I cut it, the better they cut, and if I turn them so that they are cutting almost vertically on my paper, they cut much smoother. And then I grabbed these tiny letter stickers from Jelly Bean Soup to go ahead and add the year on here. And then I grabbed some of these sequins, which I believe these are Pretty Pink Posh. They came in a mix from My Favorite Things stamps. I had purchased one of their card kits. It was the first one that they put out, and it included a bag of these mixed ones, and I have some of this color, but I liked the fact that these were mixed sizes and I didn't have any of these larger ones, so that was kind of nice. And that was pretty much it. So here you can see some close-up shots of the different areas around the layout and another picture of the completed layout. So thank you for watching, and I will be up next for a Spotlight Sunday video. Catch you later.